1. The Board of Pharmacy is created within the department and shall consist of 9 members to be appointed by the Governor and confirmed by the Senate. 2. 7 members of the board must be licensed pharmacists who are residents of this state and who have been engaged in the practice of the profession of pharmacy in this state for at least 4 years and, to the extent practicable, represent the various pharmacy practice settings. Of the pharmacist members, 2 must be currently engaged in the practice of pharmacy in a community pharmacy. 2 must be currently engaged in the practice of pharmacy in a Classroom II, Modified Classroom II, or Classroom III institutional pharmacy. And 3 must be pharmacists licensed in this state irrespective of practice setting. The remaining 2 members must be residents of the state who have never been licensed as pharmacists and who are in no way connected with the practice of the profession of pharmacy. No person may be appointed as a consumer member who is in any way connected with a drug manufacturer or wholesaler. At least 1 member of the board must be 60 years of age or older. The Governor shall appoint members to the board in accordance with this subsection as members' terms expire or as a vacancy occurs until the composition of the board complies with the requirements of this subsection. 3. As the terms of the members expire, the Governor shall appoint successors for terms of 4 years, and such members shall serve until their successors are appointed. 4. All provisions of Chapter 456 relating to activities of the board shall apply. The Board of Pharmacy has the authority to adopt rules and to implement the provisions of this chapter conferring duties upon it. Disposition of fees. Expenditures. All amounts of money received under this chapter shall be deposited and expended. All expenditures for duties of the board authorized by this chapter shall be paid upon presentation of vouchers approved by the Executive Director of the Board. Licensure by examination. 1. Any person desiring to be licensed as a pharmacist shall apply to the department to take the licensure examination. The department shall examine each applicant who the board certifies has a. completed the application form and remitted an examination fee set by the board not to exceed $100 plus the actual per applicant cost of the department for purchase of portions of the examination from the National Association of Boards of Pharmacy or a similar national organization. The fees authorized under this section shall be established in sufficient amounts to cover administrative costs. B. Submitted satisfactory proof that she or he is not less than 18 years of age and 1. Is a recipient of a degree from a school or college of pharmacy accredited by an accrediting agency recognized and approved by the United States Office of Education, or 2. Is a graduate of a 4-year undergraduate pharmacy program of a school or college of pharmacy located outside the United States, has demonstrated proficiency in English by passing both the test of English as a foreign language, TOEFL, and the test of spoken English, has passed the foreign pharmacy graduate equivalency examination that is approved by rule of the board, and has completed a minimum of 500 hours in a supervised work activity program within this state under the supervision of a pharmacist licensed by the department, which program is approved by the board. C. Submitted satisfactory proof that she or he has completed an internship program approved by the board. No such board-approved program shall exceed 2,080 hours, all of which may be obtained prior to graduation. 2. The department may permit an applicant who has satisfied all requirements of subsection 1, except those relating to age or the internship program, to take the written examination, but the passing of the examination shall confer no rights or privileges upon the applicant in connection with the practice of pharmacy in this state. 3. Except as provided in subsection 2, the department shall issue a license to practice pharmacy to any applicant who successfully completes the examination in accordance with this section. Licensure by endorsement. Requirements. Fee. 1. The department shall issue a license by endorsement to any applicant who applies to the department and remits a non-refundable fee of not more than $100, as set by the board and whom the board certifies. A. Has met the qualifications for licensure in S. 465.0071B, and C. B. Has obtained a passing score, as established by rule of the board, on the licensure examination of the National Association of Boards of Pharmacy or a similar nationally recognized examination, if the board certifies that the applicant has taken the required examination. C1. Has submitted evidence of the active licensed practice of pharmacy, including practice in community or public health by persons employed by a governmental entity, in another jurisdiction for at least 2 of the immediately preceding 5 years, or evidence of successful completion of board-approved postgraduate training or a board-approved clinical competency examination within the year immediately preceding application for licensure, or 2. Has completed an internship meeting the requirements of S. 465.0071C within the 2 years immediately preceding application, and D. Has obtained a passing score on the pharmacy jurisprudence portions of the licensure examination, as required by board rule. 2. An applicant licensed in another state for a period in excess of 2 years from the date of application for licensure in this state shall submit a total of at least 30 hours of board-approved continuing education for the 2 calendar years immediately preceding application. 3. The Department may not issue a license by endorsement to any applicant who is under investigation in any jurisdiction for an act or offense that would constitute a violation of this chapter until the investigation is complete, at which time the provisions of S. 465.016 apply. 4. The Department may not issue a license by endorsement to any applicant whose license to practice pharmacy has been suspended or revoked in another state, or who is currently the subject of any disciplinary proceeding in another state. Renewal of license. The Department shall renew a license upon receipt of the renewal application, verification of compliance with, and receipt of a fee set by the board not to exceed $250. The Department shall adopt rules establishing a procedure for the biennial renewal of licenses. Reactivation of license. Continuing education. 1. The board shall prescribe by rule continuing education requirements as a condition of reactivating a license. The continuing education requirements for reactivating a license shall be at least 15 classroom hours for each year the license was inactive, in addition to completion of the number of hours required for renewal on the date the license became inactive. 2. The board shall adopt rules relating to application procedures for inactive status, to the biennial renewal of inactive licenses, and to the reactivation of licenses. The board shall prescribe by rule an application fee for inactive status, a renewal fee for inactive status, a delinquency fee, and a fee for the reactivation of a license. None of these fees may exceed the biennial renewal fee established by the board for an active license. The Department may not reactivate a license unless the inactive or delinquent licensee has paid any applicable biennial renewal or delinquency fee, or both, and a reactivation fee. Continuing professional pharmaceutical education. 1. No license renewal shall be issued by the Department until the licensee submits proof satisfactory to the board that during the 2 years prior to her or his application for renewal the licensee has participated in not less than 30 hours of continuing professional pharmaceutical education in courses approved by the board. 2. The board shall approve only those courses that build upon the basic courses offered in the curricula of accredited colleges or schools of pharmacy, and the board shall require that the provider meets the educational standards for the program design, administration, and evaluation established by the board. 3. Upon initial licensure, the Department may reduce the number of required hours consistent with the requirements of biennial renewal. 4. The Department may make exception from the requirements of this section in an emergency or hardship case. 5. The board may adopt rules within the requirements of this section that are necessary for its implementation, including a rule creating a committee composed of equal representation from the board, the colleges of pharmacy in the state, and practicing pharmacists within the state, whose purpose shall be to approve the content of each course offered for continuing education credit prior to the time such course is offered. 1. No license renewal shall be issued by the Department until the licensee submits proof satisfactory to the board that during the 2 years prior to her or his application for renewal the licensee has participated in not less than 30 hours of continuing professional pharmaceutical education in courses approved by the board. 2. The board shall approve only those courses that build upon the basic courses offered in the curricula of accredited colleges or schools of pharmacy, and the board shall require that the provider meets the educational standards for the program design, administration, and evaluation established by the board. 3. Upon initial licensure, the Department may reduce the number of required hours consistent with the requirements of biennial renewal. 4. The Department may make exception from the requirements of this section in an emergency or hardship case. 5. The board may adopt rules within the requirements of this section that are necessary for its implementation, including a rule creating a committee composed of equal representation from the board, the colleges of pharmacy in the state, and practicing pharmacists within the state, whose purpose shall be to approve the content of each course offered for continuing education credit prior to the time such course is offered.